Kia ora Year 10. This is the first video I'm going to do for you looking at algebraic fractions, and I'm going to make 7 of these videos, one to go with each section of the textbook. So I'm not going to use the textbook questions because they're copyright to the textbook, but there are only so many variations on algebra that you can do. So the 6 questions I'm going to do in here are very similar to the ones that are in Gamma chapter 1101. So what we're going to look at here is how we simplify the following fractions, and this is very much a review of Year 9 work. So the first big idea is that we need to look at the coefficients and simplify the numbers in the fractions, and then we need to look carefully at each variable. So I'm just going to work through them in turn, and you can see that I've picked some quite similar coefficients for these 4 questions, and I've done that on purpose so that we can see slight variation from one question to the next. Okay, so starting out with question 1, we've got 9a over 15b. The first thing that I have to look at is the 9 and the 15, and I'm looking for the highest common factor, or sometimes called the greatest common factor, and that's 3. So we're going to divide the numerator and the denominator by 3. So that's just like when we were back in earlier years and we had 9/15 and we had to simplify that. So we divide the numerator by 3 and we divide the denominator by 3. It's just the same here, but now we've got some variables that just sit alongside. Okay, and they do that because 9a means 9 times a, and this means 15 times b. So my final answer in there is going to be 3a over 5b, because when I look at the a's, there are no a's in the denominator. And when I look at the b's, there are no b's up here. So there's no more simplifying to do. Okay, so let's look now at the next couple. Now that you've got the basic idea, pause the video and just have a go at doing 2, 3, and 4 on your own. And now I'm going to work through them. Okay, question 2. So the coefficients are the same, so we're again dividing out by 3, and sometimes we'll do that by writing it like that. This time though, here we've got an a squared, and here we've got an a. So writing this out more fully, this is what I've got going on. Now a divided by a simplifies, it's just 1. So that leaves me here with 3a over 5b squared. Now we're not going to do the step of writing a squared out as a times a for much longer, but I want you to remember that, because when we get to our rule with subtracting powers, I want you to remember why that's working, because that's important. So my final answer in here is 3a over 5b squared. Okay, number 3. So every time we do these, we look at the coefficients first. 9 over 15 is the same as 3/5. And now this time, we've got a to the power of 4 divided by a. We've got b squared divided by b. So again, I'm going to write this out the long way, just to get started. So 3a times a times a times a times b times b. Right, very painful. So on the denominator, I've got 5 times a times b. So now we can simplify. A divided by a is 1, and b divided by b is 1. And now putting everything back into power form, what am I left with? Well, I've got 3a cubed b divided by 5. Now let's look now at the shorter way that we've learnt for doing that, so that we don't have to write that out again, because I'm getting a bit tired of it. So we've done our numbers. Now here we've got a to the power of 4, and here we've got a to the power of 1. So the shortcut method for what we're doing is to look at this is to the power of 4, and this is to the power of 1. You can think of this as being heavier in the numerator than in the denominator. 4 take away 1 gives me 3, so we get 3a cubed. And here we've got b squared divided by b to the power of 1. So 2 take away 1 is 1. But we don't ever write that power of 1, so it's just 3a cubed b over 5. On to number 4. 9ab over 15a cubed is equal to our very familiar 3/5 here. And now I've got a here and a cubed here. So you can think of this as having, this is 3 here, and this is 1 here. So it's going to be a squared, but it's going to be a squared down here, right? The heavy part of the a's is in the denominator. And I've got a b sitting here. I've got no b's to simplify over there. So let's just clean some of this mess up and look at what we've done again. So just look at what's going on with the a squared in the denominator, right? It's because here I've got 1a. I've got a to the power of 1. But here I've got a times a times a. So we're left with a 1 up here and an a squared down here. So that gives us our final answer here. Okay, on to number 5, which is just another little example of where the heavy part of the variable is in the denominator. Okay, so this one is going to equal 1 over x, right? 5 take away 4 gives me 1, and it's sitting down here. So that's all we can do with that one. Number 6, we've got a little bit more complicated because we're going to be dealing with brackets. So this is an example of where we have to use our BEDMAS rules. Right, so if you think about our trapezium, we've got brackets here, and we've got exponents, and then we've got division and multiplication, and then addition and subtraction. So in here, we have to deal with this first. So this is 3a times 3a. So let's write that out. It's the first time we've done one of these since the holidays. Brains have probably forgotten. This was the last lesson of last term. So 3 3s are 9, and then a times a is a squared over 12a to the power of 5. Simplifying the coefficients means I divide by 3 in the numerator and denominator. And here I've got a to the power of 5 and a squared here. So we've got 3 over 4a cubed, right? So notice I've got 5 here and 2 here. 5 take away 2 is 3, and it's sitting in the bottom. Right, now let's look at a fast way to do that, because we want to be able to make this pretty automatic. We don't want to have to write that out the long way as I did here, because this time we only had a power of 2. But what if we had a power of 7 or something awful? Okay, so here what am I doing? Well, I'm saying that with the coefficient, it's going to be 3 squared, so that's 9. Right, so I take that coefficient and I do the squaring to it. And then I've got a to the power of 1, and I multiply that by 2. Right, so it's 9a squared over 12a to the 5. And then we simplify from there, right? Okay, so guys, you should be set now to go and do Gamma 1101. Make sure that you set your working out really well, and always write your question and your answer. And if you're in my 2020 class, I've put full worked solutions for these up on Google Classroom. So make sure that you're marking as you go, and just also do use the worked solutions, because I've put all of the simplification steps in there instead of just the answers in the back of the book, which don't really help you when you get stuck. Thanks for watching.